Well, you've seen them on television. They were on everybody's evening news, yesterday afternoon's news, tonight, tomorrow as well. Here are Craig, Dean, and Patrick Gill. These young men want to get married, and they're serious about it, and legally, you know, went up to the Washington, D.C., walked up to the little window or whatever you do in Washington, D.C., and the woman didn't faint, did she? She started filling this out, didn't she?
Yeah.
And you said, oh, wait a minute.
I said, you know, look at the application, and because she had put Patrick down as the female, and I said, no, Patrick's a man. And she said, oh, okay, and she said, here you go, pay $12, and I came back with my $12, and she gave me the receipt, and I said, this is all too easy. And I said, you know, maybe you should talk to your supervisor about this. And she said, you think so? And I said, yeah. She said, yeah. And he came out and he said, Mr. Dean, can I see you in my office? So we went back and we talked, and he said, I just don't know what to do. A week later, that they had decided to deny our application, and a week after that, we filed a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, married. You know, this is illegal in every state in the union. We are pretty consistent about not many things, but about this one, apparently. We don't want no two guys getting married. I wish you guys would get this straight.
I wouldn't say it's illegal in D.C., though.
It's
yeah, tell them about that. Now, we got language. There's nothing in the law, is there, that says...
It's not illegal. It's just not recognized, and it's not even, in some states it is prohibited, and I believe in Texas and New Hampshire.
D.C. specifically prohibits underage
marriages,
bigamy, and incestuous marriages.
Yeah, right. It doesn't say anything as to what the sex of a couple
only a man
should
and
be.
a woman.
It doesn't say one needs to be a man or woman. It doesn't say one can't be a man and a man, or a woman and a woman.
Right. Now, somebody's going to kick this all the way upstairs. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, who's the lawyer? Are you both?
I'm an attorney.
You're the attorney. Mm-hmm. Come on, you're going to the big guys with this.
It could,
and the big guys and one woman, may I say.
Yes. It could potentially.
Please, what do you think?
It really all depends upon the Supreme Court, and actually really depends upon how D.C. wishes to handle it. You know, we have a new mayor in D.C., the mayor-elect, well, now it's Mayor Sharon Pratt Dixon, who was just sworn in on January 2nd. And she has gone on record in favoring the legalization of gay and lesbian marriages. 10 years ago, she wrote legislation which would have legalized gay marriages, and when her husband was on the D.C. Council, he introduced it. Mm-hmm. The day after the primary, I called her up on a radio talk show, and I said, you know, you introduced this legislation.
Before we filed the marriage license.
Yeah, because we were still exploring the idea and what chance of success we would have.
Right.
And she said that she was still in favor of legalizing gay and lesbian marriages, that society is a changing place, and it's something we should accept. So on your show, Phil, I'd like to ask the mayor to fulfill her campaign promise.
Yeah. And... well, welcome to public service, Mayor Sharon Pratt Dixon. It is true, she is very much on record as in favor of gay rights, and so 3 cheers and a standing O for this
yeah, you know, D.C. is a very
new
favorable...
mayor, Washington, D.C. mayor. Yes, you were saying.
D.C. is a very favorable and positive stance. I mean, as well, D.C. has a Human Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination based upon...
gets a whiff of this.
Yeah.
Jesse Helms lives in the district, presumably in the area. So does Congressman Donahue.
And other hate mongers.
Well, you know, not all gays, many of whom are politically active, support this effort, as you know. Tom Stoddard, frankly, this is the wrong venue, he tells Outweek, the gay and lesbian magazine. Anything that happens within the District of Columbia is subject to the special scrutiny of Congress, and a lawsuit of this kind, regardless of the outcome, amounts to an invitation to the Helmses and the Donahuyers to overturn it. The outcome of their case could have an effect on everyone in the gay and lesbian community. I wish they had coordinated better with the legal groups that work together on these issues all the time. What's up here?
Well, I got a couple of responses to that. First of all...
excuse me, and there's always a danger that a suit of this kind will lead to bad precedent in the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, in other words, if you get, you may be throwing yourself on the sword in the wrong arena and hurt others attempting to do the sets, as I understand.
There's nothing but bad case law at this point. The only thing that we can do is either distinguish or set new precedent.
Right.
Second of all, the argument that that gay people shouldn't assert their rights for fear that people are going to say something nasty about them.
It's not so much that. I don't think that. I think that mischaracterizes his objection. His objection is that you're standing up in the front of the people. I mean, Mapplethorpe couldn't get, you know, they had to pull it out of the Corcoran Museum. I mean, this is Washington, D.C. Come on. I mean, there's somebody...
Well, he says we didn't get in contact with them ahead of time. They're a little bit touchy about that one. We did.
You did?
I guess they saw us as a couple of quacks.
Yeah.
You think they did?
In fact,
Maybe
I've asked their organization, Lambda Legal
Well, Lambda,
Defense,
as you know, has a very good reputation for helping lots of
help, and they haven't even bothered responding to our letters. You know, I think there's a little bit of ego at play here.
You do.
So
the gay community, first of all, should be said, does not march like wooden soldiers in every event any more than any other community.
What this is just, I think, a few leaders or heads of some gay legal organizations, but we have a broad base of support from the gay community. Grassroots, Queer Nation has voted to support us. Other organizations in D.C., the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force has voiced their support for us.
Basically, gay people that do have an objection say, well, we don't want our relationships to be exactly like heterosexual relationships, so why should there be marriage? Well, that's fine. Each his own. We want the option, yes or no.
Should be free to do so.
Right.
Let's talk about you for a second, if you don't mind. Somebody's from Long Island. Which one? You're from Long Island.
Yes.
Where were you raised in Virginia?
No, New York as well. Born and raised in Queens.
Both? Both? Go ahead, you can laugh. Hey, loosen up. Loosen up.
Right?
Hey, this is the New York audience, isn't it? Come on. Patrick Gill, first generation Irish. Oh, faith and begorra, may the saints come down. Not too funny with mom and dad, I bet. This had to be rough.
Not at all. Coming out to them in the first place was very, very difficult. That was 4 years ago, right after I met Craig, and my brother and sister didn't know until really the last month or two. You know, mom and dad, they can't deny that they love me. They can't deny that I'm their son. They're not, you know, don't ever come see us again, et cetera, et cetera. They love me for what I am. They just don't like the fact that I've come out all over again, a second coming out.
This publicity is the
Yeah, why does it have to be you? And we've gotten that from both sides of our family.
Right. What's your father's emotional condition now? I mean, no, I ask this respectfully because you love your dad, and you've already established he loves you. So where are we? Are we phoners, or was there any kind of... You're not estranged, are you?
No, not at all. We're constantly, I guess you could say, talking. It's been very, very strained. We just have to, you know, the two of us love each other. And it's hard to see that, being what he was brought up on, that those religious things and everything else.
You have a lot of brother or uncles and cousins or priests, and religious?
And an aunt who's a nun, and there's, you know, religious constantly with the family. The nuns helped bring us up since my aunt was a nun. I haven't really heard from anyone. From any of the nuns, really. I called England to tell my aunt. She's very upset. You know, why does it have to be you? You're breaking your parents' heart. But, you know, I'm not willing. My dad is a very stubborn Irishman, and so am I. And I'm not willing to sit back and, you know, let it stop here. I want to go forward and live out the rest of my life as quality as I can. And I think Dad needs to see that I'm just as stubborn as he is, I'm just as big-mouthed as he is, and hot-tempered, and I'm not willing to sit back and be treated like a second-class citizen any longer. This is it, and we're going all the way.
Craig, your father's deceased, I think.
Yes.
You share, you certainly shared with the producer of our show, a very poignant moment. I guess it was been, what, 5 years ago since you told your dad? You came out 5 years ago with your family?
My father died 5 years ago. I've been out to my family for about 6 years, 7 years.
I see. And for the, he wanted to throw you out right now, didn't he, when you first told him?
His immediate reaction was one of anger and not knowing how to deal with it, you know. He just told me, get out of the house. And I mean, what was I supposed to do? So I got a bag and packed my underwear and some clothes and started to leave. And my mother took me aside and she said, no, please wait until your father comes home, you know. And so I said, okay, Mom, I will for you. And so he came home. My mother said, you know, if he leaves, I leave.
Your mother said this to your father?
Yeah. And so my father turned to me and said, okay, you can stay until you find a place to live. And we didn't talk for several days. And at one point, several days later, we bumped into each other in the hallway, and he started crying and took me into his arms and just said, "I love you." You know, it was that emotional breakthrough that allowed him to just get back on track to where he was. My father was just a very, very loving man. When I had broken up with my first lover, you know, I was crying. You know, my father came into my room, and he sat down on the bed with me and like wiped a tear from my eye. And he said, you know, "I don't know exactly what you're experiencing, but I can see that you're hurt, and I want you to know that I still love you."
Was this a second incident after his first weeping?
Yeah, about a year later.
Uh-huh. You're not the first son to make his father cry under these circumstances, and this has to be considered for many, many men. How old was your father at the time?
He was about 55.
Yeah. See, only honest response, huh? I mean, you had to see that, right?
Yeah. You know, and just as I had such a hard time, it took me many, many years to deal with my own homosexuality. And I didn't expect my parents to deal with it right away either.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a long coming out process. I mean, there were times when I was in my early teens that I would actually curse God
I think just
for making me the way I am.
Tell you that they would rather not choose this lifestyle, and none of us, I don't think, choose it. It's natural to us. No one wants to be, you know, berated the rest of their life. They don't want their family to have such problems and all this kind of stuff. We're not brought up to be gay.
You don't get any thrill out of making your father cry.
No, but the realization I made was I need to be my own person. I needed to come out of the fear that I was experiencing and the self-hatred that I was experiencing in order to live a normal life.
Yeah. Now, just one more time before we break. You are serious about this attempt to be married, legally married, because?
Because the bottom line is Patrick and I love each other, and we don't believe our love is of any less magnitude or importance than people in other committed, stable, long-term relationships feel.
And we can get a holy union in a church, and a lot of gay people do that, but, you know, why should we just have to stop at that? We want to be able to file a joint tax return. I want this man to be my next of kin. Rights of survivorship, rights of will. So I don't have to make all this out.
There's all sorts of legal rights and protections that a married couple get that an unmarried couple can't, and we believe we're entitled to it.
Well, we have other gay couples we want you to meet, each of which bring to this dialogue different energies. Already you want to get in this. I got this show that lasts an hour. Here you come now. I feel a speech coming from you.
You want the marriage right. How about the divorce right?
Exactly.
Of
That's a
course.
right,
Next.
too.
That's a right, too. I mean, you have many gay and lesbian couples who are together for 10 and 15 years who break up, and what happens to the property
Okay,
that
will
they
you do
had?
that same thing? Will you fight for that divorce right also?
Well, that comes with the right to marry.
Yeah.
I mean, access
Allowed
to
to
the
get
courts
married.
for separation.
Why is that
divorce
such? You
agreements are
look
important.
kind of like, got him now.
I can't buy the whole thing.
Yeah.
No.
You don't want him to get married.
Absolutely not.
Because?
I just don't think it's the right thing to do. They love each other. They're on relationships.
Why shouldn't they? Why should it? You know?
They want it because of the legal.
It's not natural.
Yeah?
They want it because of the
They
legal.
can
We
yeah,
want
but you
to
can
love
love
each
each
other
other, but
first
why
and
get
foremost.
married? Why?
Yeah, so once the legal angle comes
Can
in...
they hold hands in public?
Yeah, sure, they can do all
Well,
that.
then why are you going to
Can they dance, you know, out there in a dance floor? Well, then why can't they get married?
Because they're not
Why
making
can only
babies.
you and the man that
that's
you
what
married,
marriage is all about.
why can only the man, this woman...
We don't get married if we don't want to have
Yeah, I didn't hear what she said. I didn't hear what she
You
said.
shouldn't get married unless you're having babies.
kids. I mean, really,
So
otherwise
you
Right.
deny
live
marriage
together,
license
right?
to disabled people,
And
to
married
elderly
couples.
people, to
Yeah,
people who
so
choose
there's
In other
not
words,
to
if
have
you're a
children.
past menopause, forget the marriage.
Nothing to do with marriage. We're talking
You
about
know,
a family right.
Nothing. I mean, who needs a marriage if you got old ovaries? Isn't that what you're saying here? What is,
Will they be allowed to
Thank you,
adopt?
Phil.
would they be allowed to adopt? They hope so. And adoption has become rather...
Adoption is a hot
routine.
issue.
Let's
you know.
face it, America, gay people can still have children.
We have
Lesbian mothers do, together.
Again, there's lots of gay mothers, there's lots of lesbian, gay and lesbian parents at this point in time, and
Okay, let me show you who's coming up here. This is not the only gay couple in the world. They would like you to know. Not only that, you've already established that lots of gays have been married in religious services. Lots of gay couples married very thoughtfully, sincerely, and out of the closet religious marriages, including this couple, Rob Paris and Rod Jackson, and we will meet them in just a moment. Hey, here they are, Rod Jackson, Bob Paris. I'll tell you what, you light up the room, you guys. All these women looked with enthusiasm on... in my next life, I'm going to have a body like each of these guys. Here's Rod Jackson, international model and former social worker, married Bob Paris in July of 1989. Unitarian ceremony, Wooden Church, Santa Monica, California. People came in from all over the world to for this wedding. Bob Paris is the former Mr. America and Mr. Universe. Not an easy accomplishment. This is a very serious bodybuilder. And obviously the other member of the wedding here came out to the media in an interview in Iron Man magazine. How's that? Iron Man magazine is the vehicle for Bob Paris and Rod Jackson both. I believe you both discussed your relationship in coming out. You tell us also, or at least it was clear in the material that I reviewed, everybody in your world knew you were together as a couple in any event. There was nothing surprising about the professional world.
No, absolutely. The only thing that took place in the Iron Man interview where Rod and I basically came out in the media was the acknowledgement of our relationship within the media. In the sport of bodybuilding, in Rod's career, everyone knew us as a couple and knew us as a very loving couple and very committed to each other.
And
so
we're not surprised at all when wedding invitations were printed up. There was no shock from people who knew us.
Right. In fact, we got pictures. Show them. Let's just do a... we should have done this for you. We owe you guys some pictures here. We didn't... what do you want to start with, 62? Here are Rob and Bob at their bachelor shower. I'm not lying to you. Here's Bob. Next slide.
It was called the Bash.
The Bash. Very good. Here you are on your wedding day. Next slide. Let's move on here. We got a lot to do here. Here you are. There's the wedding cake. Here's your magazine cover. I think I showed you that. And the next, another one. Go ahead. Here you are with the pets. You got a macaw, a cuckoo, and all those other kinds of pets. And here's your press photo. All right, how do we start here? First of all, don't call you lovers. That's an important point. Make your point about
Well,
that.
I think that the term lover is a very fine term, but to a lot of people, the term lover connotates a solely sexual relationship. And we are married. We're spouses.
We're married in our religion, spiritually, in our hearts, and...
Yeah, you wouldn't call married man and wife
No.
lovers.
No, and we have several non-gay couples who are married, and they would be insulted if we said...
Who's your friend or who's your lover?
And our friends all understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's just very important that we do live in a free society, and we should have the choice in the terminologies that we use for our lives. And we are very much spouses, and we are very much in love. So I think that we certainly have the right to...
And we realize that our marriage isn't legal, and that is why we are doing the things we're doing, because this country does effectively deny certain minorities of their civil rights. I mean, we act like there's just so many civil rights to go around. That's not true. We all inherently should have them according to the Constitution of the United States.
Part of it is that the community... in your interview with Outweek magazine, may I just share with this audience just one answer? This, I believe, is Rod's answer. Part of it is that the community is afraid. Let's face it, there's a small circle of people in the gay community who decide what the gay ideology is. We've had it thrust down our throats by the straight world, and it's being reinforced by the gay world. And then you come forward to say, We're the most diverse minority in the entire world. We cross all lines. Why are we limiting ourselves from the diversity that everyone else enjoys?
And we really are the most diverse minority.
Okay, you do get to speak. Let me get this in. It's true.
Yeah.
We gay people, Rod, we gay people, you say, are our own worst enemies. We are asking for our rights. Shouldn't we be demanding our rights? If every gay and lesbian came out of the closet, sexuality prejudice would be moot.
Phil, I do want to say something. I say there's a small group of people. They don't decide what people think, but there are people. During that time, we were having trouble with the gay press wanting to depict us in a certain way, and we were telling them, if we wanted to be depicted in a certain way, why would we have come out? Why would have we got married? Why would we put our careers on the line? Why would we have taken the risks we did? And we basically told everybody, we did this for us. We are not going to bastardize ourselves from mainstream society, and we are not about to do it for the gay community.
And we're not going to adjust the way that we view our lives to fit into a nice little
How do they
niche.
want to present you? Hunk?
Basically, I think that the most important thing that began to happen with the media, and I think we should I believe in minorities washing their dirty laundry inside the house and taking care of it themselves.
What would be the dirty laundry?
But no, I'm saying that the problems that we need to work out within the minority need to be worked out within the minority.
And they really have nothing to do with the prejudice and the oppression coming from mainstream
society. But one of the things was just to separate us out as two separate people. We had a lot of trouble getting respect for our relationships as a couple. And as a married couple.
I see.
But in the last 18 months, we have had 30,000 letters of support, and a majority of them from the gay community, so we definitely have that support out there.
You also have to make sure you don't get yourself, without wanting to, into, for example, a dirty magazine or a porn magazine.
And we're very careful about that.
You could be exploited in many, I assume, without even, I don't know.
Well, we're kind of reclusive people anyway, so we kind of are very careful about the press that we do to begin with. And yeah, I mean, why should you have to have an article that appears about the love of your life, and here's the person that your heart goes out to every day, and it appears next to a sex ad or for a sex toys or something.
And there's a lot of issues there. I think the biggest thing, earlier you were talking to Pat and Craig, and you said, well, many people in the gay community say, well, we don't want the right to get married. And they were right. They said, but if we fight for all our rights, which we deserve, that's what makes us Americans. We get to choose which rights we exercise to make us individuals. It should be no different because you're a gay person in the society.
And just because a person's bigoted does not mean they have the right to deny you your civil rights also.
Sure. I assume then you're foursquare in favor of this legal effort. Let me just understand though. You're foursquare in favor of Craig and Patrick's...
Absolutely. We didn't have the opportunity, and they have a perfect opportunity in Washington, D.C. To pursue this, because we were married in the state of California, and in the state of California, to get a marriage license, the wording is that it must be a man and a woman.
Well, we spoke on this issue. We do college lectures, and we do speak about this. We are out there, and you have someone, you brought up Tom Stoddard earlier, who said that it's the wrong venue. You know, anytime you don't have your civil rights, what is the right venue?
Yeah, you did. Didn't you return to serve? I think talk about Rosa Parks. Not the right time, Rosa. Don't sit in the back of the. Don't sit in the front of the bus.
Exactly the same thing. And if Rosa would have never done that, then how long would it have taken?
Yeah, but apparently there is a certain political segment of the gay community that sees the marriage issue as kind of a
frivolous. And I want to say too, the right to get married is only one of those rights we're fighting for. The right to not get fired from a job you do well just because you're gay. Yeah. The right to be able to walk down the street holding hands without having a carload of teenagers come out with bats and kill you.
The right not to be called derogatory terms. Why is the F word the only one that's socially acceptable in this country anymore? The right not to have your head bashed in like a coconut and then have the police turn their backs on you and call you a faggot and get out of the police station.
So the right to get married,
civil rights.
That's just one right we talk about. But it's like we have to keep knocking on the door. And there are people that think that's not the most important right. But why are they making decisions for everybody else? Let us make our own decisions.
And everyone in this country growing up during the Pledge of Allegiance said, and liberty and justice for all.
Exactly.
It didn't say for everyone except gay people.
And I learned that...
Yeah. You learned what? Yeah.
Well, I learned that the Declaration of Independence, the very foundation of this nation, the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And this was guaranteed to every citizen. Although it wasn't guaranteed to every citizen at that time, but slowly over time, it became guaranteed to every citizen.
Let me see if I... Hey, we've got other people we want you to meet here. This is War and Peace in 3.5 minutes. There's a caller there. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
You'll be brief. I know you will.
Yes, I will.
Go ahead.
All I wanted to say is that I'm a 24-year-old in a relationship now for 4 years with my mate, and not everybody agrees with the fact that the marriage, the way it's stated right now, is what fits our relationship.
So you're not so... you don't care whether you're able to get married or not legally.
No. I think that there should be some laws stated in New York State, but I don't believe the ones that are existing right now are the ones that are suited for us.
Absolutely, they're prejudicial and exclusive. They exclude same-sex couples.
Yeah, do I understand you, caller? You don't care whether you're allowed to get married or not? Is that your point?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the way the laws are set up right now for marriages, it's not intended for gays, and we should have our own set of rules and regulations.
Yes,
I see. I'm glad you called. Go ahead.
Hi, I think that promiscuity should be the only thing that is discouraged. I think relationships should be encouraged by all means, especially today.
Does anybody want to speak to this? Does the freedom to marry legally and with the respectful... would that influence behavior? I don't know. And should behavior be influenced? And who do we think we are presuming to tell you how to behave?
Does it influence non-gay couples?
I mean, how many monogamous non-gay couples do you know? Really, if they were honest in their heart of hearts.
Well, are you saying then that
it
would make no difference?
We're saying why should gay people have a
have to pass that test?
Why should they have a separate thing enforced upon them that non-gay couples don't have to have?
Why should we have to hurdle over a mile-high hurdle to achieve what's guaranteed in our Constitution, but is prejudicially and exclusively denied to us?
And I think it will enforce gay relationships. Right. Not enforce, but I think it'll help gay relationships. I mean, we can see as gay people that, and teenagers can see out there, they don't have to kill themselves. There are valid gay relationships, and that you can go so far as to get married and have a monogamous relationship with someone for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know, gay people don't have that right now, and they say they become lovers, and they call each other lovers. But I mean, even in the back of their mind, they know they can just walk out the door one day, and you know, they have nothing to...
The point, I think the really strong point here is, why are we so concerned what's going on in everybody else's relationship? Why don't we worry about our own? Yes. You know, what goes in my relationship is really none of your business, and what goes on in your marriage, Phil, is none of my business.
I was going to say that, talking about promiscuity, you know, gays and lesbians are sometimes stereotyped as being promiscuous.
Yes.
But it's the irony in that is, you know, society denies us the very vehicles and institutions
which promote stability.
To stabilize our relationships.
And haven't every oppressed minority been painted as wild animals, as less than human, as savages, as these outsiders that we can't embrace?
It goes, I mean, we can go back to African American, we can go back to Indian, we can go back to any other oppressed minority.
I mean, blacks have been oppressed for like the couple of hundred years, but gays have been oppressed for the beginning of time.
Well,
you know, let's look at that.
Yeah,
blacks were in
but
Africa.
I don't know whether I don't know if you get anywhere saying my Holocaust is worse than your Holocaust.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think it's awful in any event, no matter how long it's been going on, and we want to fix it.
The point they're trying to make is that this issue is about oppression.
I think bigotry of any form is wrong.
Are you there, caller? I'm glad you waited.
Yes, I am here.
Go ahead.
I think it's terrific. I think there's so much hatred in the world. If these people want to commit to each other and they want to get married, they should have the same legal rights as everyone else, and more power to them.
We're glad you called. Have you got a brief comment? Go ahead.
Yes, I do. I'm 17, and I'm going to be going to college next year, and I'm really worried about this situation. And I mean, I've heard so many things since I've been sitting here waiting to talk, and about civil rights and how minorities don't have enough. Ever since the 60s with the Warren Court, we have more civil rights than we have ever had. And now that we have a conservative court, I'm hoping that this will be changed, because I don't want to go to college and see my friends get AIDS, see these people walking around. I mean, I think I'm open-minded, but
Why don't we reinstitute slavery as well?
What is your point, caller? You're 17 and you're going to college next year, you say?
Yeah,
You know, what should we do with the all these gay people?
I can't believe what I don't know. I disagree with what they're doing, and I disagree with the role models that they're portraying.
You disagree with it?
They are 5-year-olds watching the story now. What kind of a role model are they for them?
My sister just is a freshman in college. My sister's a freshman in college, and you're going away to college next year. These kids know well enough, and they're told at school, have safe sex. You don't have to worry about AIDS if you're having safe sex. I mean, that should be straight across the board, let's face it,
This
these
sounds
days.
like someone who still thinks she can get AIDS from a doorknob, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
But Bill, can I bring up a point here too? It's kind of a thing, the caller's assuming that being gay, it sounds like it might be a choice issue. This caller needs to understand, you are born gay. This is who you are, no more than she's born who she is, and I might not like certain things about her, but I'm not trying to oppress her.
it's no more a chosen characteristic than my brown eyes are being left-handed, or your blue eyes,
Or gray hair.
Exactly.
Yeah, if it's not a choice, why do you bring this judgment to these people? And we'll be back in just a moment.
Donahue Tickets, care of NBC, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York, 10112. Remember, postcards only, please.
Yes, sir, you wanted to say.
Yes, you have rights born to you, just being Americans. You have the right to do what you want to do in the privacy of your own home. Isn't this sort of taking it a little bit further to the nth degree, beating a horse?
Actually, in the States, we don't have the right to do what we want in the privacy of our own home. Let's look to the Hardwood case, where a man was arrested in his own home for sodomy and convicted and sent to court.
And sir, can I also bring a point?
But sir,
are you married? Is this your wife here?
No, I am not.
Are you married, though?
Are you married?
No, I am not. I'm single.
But eventually what we're saying is, we're working very hard to build our life together. Why do we have to spend $5,000 in getting our legal work set up, so if something happens to one of us, the other
right to
family can't come in and take
survivorship.
it away?
Exactly.
We have earned what we have together.
And we are each other's family.
But you can make that
And
in a
those
will.
Why
I
do we
can
have
make
to?
two
No,
non-gay couples
As an attorney, you know,
familiar rights
as an
are
attorney, I would
denied
encourage these guys to come to me, but no, I'm taking a different route and saying I'm going to, you know, try to assert my rights. You know, but the rights married couples have are different from rights that unmarried couples can have. You can, you know, with wills and you can get
Civilization, all that stuff.
Their family can come in as the next of kin and take everything away. If Bob died, his family can come in and whisk out the body, and Rod has no right to it.
You speak in legalese terms now, but marriage is one of the highest social institutions in our land.
Right.
And spiritual. Okay, but you as yet in our country, in the land on this planet Earth, have not been even begun to be accepted as a unit of social validity.
Whose fault is that?
But you're
I'm
not correct.
saying, but
You're
you
not
know,
correct.
you're jumping the gun. You're just.
In other words, they should not be in such a hurry to get their basic human rights.
But ma'am, isn't it easy, since you have those rights, to tell us that
this is a legal and social right. It's not necessarily a basic human right of life.
We're being recognized by church.
This is of our society, and society has to begin to accept before you can enter into a type
You know, when black people started moving, you know, out to the suburbs, well, wait a minute, I mean, Chet, don't rush this, if you know what I mean.
This is not.
I mean, I don't mind, but it's too fast.
That was racial. This is not based on human animals versus women and men versus procreation versus continuation of the species.
So how long do you think then?
Oh, I don't know.
How long should they wait?
I wouldn't venture a personal opinion right now.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to make good case law, wouldn't it have been smarter to let them process your forms instead of making the question at that point? It appears
they were denied.
No, but he said specifically that he said,
like they could have come back later and said, well, you deceived us.
You know, they didn't make a question of it. He said, hey, didn't you look at the
District of Columbia to be on absolute notice.
Believe me,
of
this form would not have gone past somebody's outbasket.
It had a male and female
I think, you know, sometimes it's easier to just try to pass things through, because the people who overlook forms aren't always that bright. And you might have made better case law that way.
In the back door, what's the matter with you guys?
I wanted the government to be on absolute notice of what we were doing.
Yes. I got lots of energy here.
I don't understand why anybody cares. If you want to get married, they should be able to get married. How does it affect anybody else's life?
I'd like to know if any of you have dated any women in the past and how you made the transformation to dating all men.
Yeah, I have.
I think we all go through a process of coming out and acknowledging your innate sexuality, whatever that process may be.
Yeah.
I see a lot of what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of things. I know you want to start a family. Are you also looking into adopting kids? And if so, what kind of role model do you think you'll be for, like, a daughter growing up in today's society?
You know, I would like to say we're thinking about starting the adoption process in the next 2 months. And we have people, I don't think sexuality should determine what kind of role model you are. I think your parental goodness and how well you do your job should determine how good a parent you are.
Households there are. Single parent, single sex.
On this topic of adoption, would you prefer a boy or a girl child?
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
It's like, the woman gives birth, she doesn't know what she's going to get. We're happy with either.
There are so many children out there who people consider unadoptable right now, and you figured that would be a right to expand the pool of adoptable parents.
Do you think your child would be like ostracized by other children? Are you even worried about that?
Actually, no, because we would be very onto the PTA and everything else. And people that we know that have done that and are in the PTA, the parents see how supportive it is. It goes back to the classroom with the teachers. The teachers are protective and they educate the kids so that we're all growing up with an open mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone talked about role models. These beautiful boys, they're gorgeous. And they are.
Yeah.
They had role models of mother and father.
Oh, you meant that. Oh,
yeah, I meant you from the beginning. But I really mean that in the sense of role models, you had your role models.
Thank you.
So what happened?
We had our role models? No, well, look,
right.
role models...
Something bad happened?
No, I mean, this is what they want. They want to marry each other. That's wonderful. Let them get married.
This doesn't matter. Can they raise kids?
As far as I'm concerned, why not? My mother raised 2 children all by herself.
And so...
And there's nothing wrong with us.
No, it's not good for you either. Thank you.
Hi, I just have 2 short points to make. I think that people speak about homosexuality as if it's a minority group. And I really don't think it is. I think that if people just sort of open their eyes a little bit, they'd notice that some of their friends, some of their family, maybe the person that they're sitting next to are part of, you know, a gay lesbian organization practicing homosexual. And I also think that people should stop worrying about other people's sexuality and start worrying about the person that they're in. I mean, don't worry about the person's sexuality unless you're involved with them. I don't think that it's important in... Absolutely.
Statistics show that 1 in 4 families, have a gay person in it.
Yeah. And we'll what? Briefly, I got to break. The music says we're long here.
Craig, I want to know if the ACLU was helping you at all or offered support or anything.
Well, that's that might be a longer answer than we need, but no, actually, I requested their help and they haven't. So what we've had to do is actually start our own legal defense fund.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, here we are, couple number 3. I could do this. Listen, I could host a game show. I'm good at this. Here we go. Todd Barr Sawyer and Jonathan Barr Sawyer. Yes, those are hyphenated last names, and yes, they are married. What was the religion?
Unitarian.
Unitarian. Boy, where would we be without a Unitarian? Thank God.
Yeah.
God bless the Unitarian.
That's it.
Let's see. Somebody's a flight attendant. Todd.
Yeah, I'm a flight attendant.
We won't say what airline, but it is a major airline.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, I don't know. Did it make trouble to say it? I don't know.
No, I work for U.S. Air.
Well,
it's no
fine.
problem.
Here we go.
It's out.
Now.
Close up on the watch.
Is it on the watch?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the deal here? Jonathan, you are self-employed. You're an interior designer. How long have you been married, you two?
We got married in June of 1990, about 6 months ago. And the thing that happened was I applied for spousal benefits at U.S. Air for Jonathan for health and flight benefits. And the company recognized us as a couple, which was very surprising, the same way that Craig and Patrick were almost granted their marriage license. And I made sure, I said, you know, I married a man. I don't want this to be confusing to anyone. And they recognized the relationship. They pulled the flight benefits just before we were going on our honeymoon.
Now, flight benefits include free tickets.
Free tickets.
You pay some kind of a security charge, and you go on an airplane, right?
Which they've already charged me.
All flight attendants get this.
That's right.
Too bad they don't get more pay, but at least they get this.
Well, that's another show.
Yes, we'll do that again. We've already done that show. Okay, so hey, you get your free tickets. They pulled your free tickets from the honeymoon. All right.
But
they kept your benefits.
They kept the health and medical and dental, and it was great. You know,
in other words, because he's married to you, would get the benefits of your policy.
Absolutely.
Not unlike it used to be with Father Knows Best.
And being self-employed, it would cost, it's an astronomical amount.
Now what happened to that then?
Well, 3 weeks ago, they took him off the insurance policy, even after he's already been, he had a hospital stay. There were medical benefits that were incurred, they were paid. And so now we're working with the Gay and Lesbian Advocates and Defenders Office to try to solve this.
And you still continue to work for U.S. Air.
That's correct.
And we presume you will, even after mentioning their name on our program. Well, that's, no, I think you will too. I mean, I hope we're past this,
Well,
you know, where you go boo and a lot of grown men drop their tools and run.
So we haven't actually filed a lawsuit yet, not to say that it's not a possibility, but we're trying to work within the internal appeals process at U.S. Air in order to make reason with these people. I mean, they already recognized him once, you know.
Yeah, you make their point. This is, you know, if you, the next time somebody says, why illegal marriage, here's at least one very good answer. I mean, okay, I'll get to you in a moment. I got all kinds of folks hanging. Are you there? I'm glad you waited high.
Yes, I'm a lesbian, and I'm from the South. And I want to say that my wife and I were married in Holy Union 3 weeks ago.
All right. Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm glad you called. You have our congratulations. I'd ask you for your address, but I better not. I hope you're registered at Bloomie's or wherever you do that. I'm glad you waited high.
Hi. I'm a straight male, and I'm married here in New York City. And my wife and I have been studying theology for several years, and it's the whole thing of matrimony being holy is such an important part of it. And that love is holy. Their love is holy.
Right.
And
Absolutely. Right.
That's what the whole point of matrimony is.
Yes.
Me and my wife and our son is that holiness of love. Right? So, gosh, let them get married. And the Catholic Church needs to recognize that, too.
I know. I know. Here. Glad you waited high. Go ahead.
I'd just like to say that I think this is wonderful. I support these people 100%. I myself am a flight attendant, and the majority of my coworkers on my crew, they are gay, and I know their companions very well. We hang out together, and I just don't. I don't understand how these people cannot be married. It's just a piece of paper. I think that if the love is real, and they want to be together, that it's wonderful, and I don't understand why this paper can't be given to them.
I'm glad you called. Would you mind telling us what airline you work for? You don't have to.
I really wouldn't say.
Okay. All right. Everybody's,
The caller.
you know, everybody's in some kind of closet today. What's going on here?
No, what she's talking about is she knows gay people and sees
And they're real nice people. What a surprise.
Yeah, you know, and in
I don't care who you are, everybody knows gay people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have problems with gays and don't know gay people.
I agree. I agree.
To think they don't know that.
I agree. And we'll be back in just a moment. The Equal Marriage Rights Fund is in Post Office Box 18707 at 2001 M as in Mother Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. The zip is 20036. Here is the fund started by Craig and Patrick, the couple from Washington, D.C., who, as you know, have now begun the legal journey of legitimizing marriage between same-sex spouses legally. Hi.
Hi, I would like
Did I
to
say legitimize legally? That's my way. Yes.
I would like to know how do your friends react? You know, do they agree or disagree with your marriages?
Ask them.
We have a friend over here who stood up in our wedding.
Yes, your friend who stood up in the wedding? Okay, yes.
I've known Rod since I was in about 6th grade, and it meant, he's the first gay person that I really knew personally, too. And it's done nothing. I mean, it kind of even made your relationship a little bit closer. You understand each other. They're your friend. You accept it. You accept everything.
Maura, behind her.
Yeah.
Hi, I've been Patrick's friend since forever, and
The first person I told I was gay.
it's shocking to me, but I love him, and he's the most beautiful person I know, and he's a person. That's like the main thing, and
Yes,
people
and you-
forget,
and
and
you-
you just
I
have to
think-
remember that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're glad you're here. We're pleased to give you this opportunity. And this woman wants to say what?
Yeah, I'm glad to see them come out because I think we just don't understand it. And the more you come out and talk to us and we understand it, I think that helps. And I think if that's what they want to do, let them do it.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I think that what these people are doing is great because we were always taught that marriage is a union of two people, and these are two people.
Absolutely, yes.
Are gay marriages legal in other countries?
In Denmark since 1989.
How can the parents of the other side take possessions belonging to you to both of you? Why is that?
And that's what. And we'll be back in just a moment. I'm sorry.
transcript of today's show, send $3 to Donahue Transcript, 267 Broadway, New York, New York, 1007, or call 212-227-READ.
You should know, don't forget, Craig Dean and Patrick Gill's lawsuit makes its way now. Incidentally, Craig Dean lost his job with a rather medium-sized law firm in New York, in Washington, D.C. Out of work. Patrick, you're the Catholic. What did you want to say?
John Candy's Breaking Hearts. See Entertainment Tonight at 6:30. Now stay tuned for Sally, next on Channel 8.
But to live their life not in sin, they have to live a life of chastity.
And you think that's a lot of what?
Hooey. Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
Ricola, the natural choice for soothing sore throats and relieving coughs naturally.
New Dynatrim, the delicious weight loss plan complete with nutritional support from the makers of Centrum. Only Dynatrim lets you shake it, freeze it, or mousse it. Try Dynatrim and lose yourself in the taste.
For the perfect weekend and the perfect frequent stay program, check into the new Drake, the only Swiss hotel on Park Avenue.